Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Two in Love. Here is your AEW Dynamite review for September 7th, 2022 edition. Yes, the flow of the reviews has been a little wonky as of late, but last I'm here for your AEW Dynamite review. Now, I didn't give my thoughts on the CM Punk media scrum and the aftermath and decided to save it for this review instead of All Out just because I wanted to. It took away from All Out and thought it'd be better to talk about it because the ramifications were big as far as time I was concerned. Um, so I'll go over that before I go into review. But first, thank you for joining me. If you're new to the podcast and you want to see more pro wrestling videos, reviews, etc., find them on the homepage. Click the subscription down there in the corner, and you can see all my reviews, sports overview topics, etc., on the channel. So, thank you. Let's get started. So, after it's been clear in the books. After All Out, after, of course, every AEW pay per view, they do a media scrum, you know, press conference where some top stars of the card take questions in and ask in front of the media. The big story of the media scrum was CM Punk. CM Punk. He went in on the whole fiasco with Colt Cabana. Colt, now, Hangman and Page, what made. So, when CM Punk returned, in the start of his promo, he obviously called out Hangman for a rematch and went into business for himself. And basically hampered down on Hangman. But in the lead up towards All Out, or excuse me, Double or Nothing, before their title match, Hangman Page won the business for himself and alluded to Colt Cabana with some of the innuendos in his promo the week prior to Double or Nothing. And obviously, this South Punk, and Punk had that injury post Double or Nothing, and what does he do when he returns? Talks about Hangman. So then after that, now it was definitely a conglomerate of things that escalated in that media scrum. You know, MJF, when he returned in Chicago, got a huge reaction, better reaction than CM Punk after he just won the world title. And Punk talked about Hangman, buried him when Hangman talked about in an interview that he doesn't listen to veterans who wants to go through trial and error with his matches and whatnot. Hangman's one of the best wrestlers in the world and AEW. You know, Punk, he talked about the Bucks leaking information where it said Punk got. That's the other thing. Colt Cabana was rumored to be let go by AEW. And instead of being let go by AEW, he was signed to a contract for Ring of Honor. And rumors were leaked out that Punk got Colt Cabana fired. And Punk just went into this tirade at the media scrum, talking about the Bucks, talking about the EVPs, you know, hey man, Colt Cabana, etc. And this obviously made Tony Khan uncomfortable, made the media uncomfortable. It was just a big tirade of things. And I didn't notice it until it happened. But afterwards, Swerve Strickland, Keith Lee, the tag team champions, they sat down with Tony Khan, and there was a security guard that ran to the backstage, and it was discovered that CM Punk, Ace Steel, and the Elite all got into a altercation, which, you know, has led to basically all suspensions, you know, and CM Punk, he's injured, but I guess they could also count that as part of his suspension. You know, Kenny Omega suspended. The Bucks suspended. They all stripped of their titles. I mean, talking about one big out of hand issue. I mean, look, should Hangman have gotten to business for himself? You know, if it wasn't right or if it was going to be sensitive, you know, either he should have cleared it with Punk or, you know, someone should have stepped in. But if he did and Punk still got offended, then there's that. Now, do I think it was right? No. But now, post Double Nothing, they had a quality match. There's that. Punk won the title and got injured. Okay. Since then, Hangman has not mentioned CM Punk, at least on AEW television. Punk, the first thing he does, comes back and talks about Hangman. Okay, there. That's his receipt or reward for what happened. Okay. Hangman still has not said anything about CM Punk on AEW television. And, you know, something just, Nick Houseman, one of the media members, setting off CM Punk didn't ask about Colt Cabana. I mean, it's unfortunate, but Punk, yeah, Tony Khan should have really stepped in and just like, told Punk, you know, hey, take a breath, go to the shower, clear your head. We'll talk about this afterward, okay? But Punk went into tirade, and obviously shit went down. Now, is Punk okay? You know, Punk should be fired. You know, but you know the money he's being paid, the draw he so is, he's not going to be fired. He's probably going to be suspended amongst his injury. So there's that. The Bucks, Kenny has been suspended. Christopher Daniels, Pat Bunk, among many, have been suspended. So there's that. Now, all parties are a bit at fault. EVP should not be trying to get into confrontation with Punk. You know, they themselves as EVPs have to be professional as well. And it's unfortunate. Now, as of Dynamite, Tony Khan stripped again all of them of the titles, promised a great night at Dynamite, and it was a fun show. MJF was there, Moxley cut a great promo, Wardlow. Hopefully they can pick up back because they've lost a bit of momentum as of late. And hopefully this is catalyst to steer them in the right direction again. And, you know, hopefully they can take this negative and turn it into a positive. There's that. But I've spoken about it for. Now let's get into Dynamite, okay? After that. So at the start of the show, Tony Khan in a pre-aired segment addressed AEW, said after all out, he's been forced to vacate all the titles, or the AEW World title and the World Trios titles. Announced that Death Triangle versus the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy will determine the new Trios champions for AEW. As far as the AEW World title, a tournament of champions would kick off on Dynamite and culminate with a new champion being crowned at Grand Slam in the finals. And amongst the combatants, Chris Jericho, Hangman, Adam Page, Bryan Danielson, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Jon Moxley. So, a good who's who of names for this lineup for this tournament. And the tournament started in grand fashion with Hangman vs. Bryan on Dynamite. So, good decision. MJF. He was out there. This was hilarious. So, MJF came out there wearing a Buffalo Bills Josh Allen jersey. obviously got a pop, went over to the commentary table, hugged Taz, flipped off Tony Schiavone. I mean, just hilarious. He ran down, posed with some of the fans. I mean, that was hilarious. So, he got in there, praised Buffalo and Josh Allen, calling him the greatest quarterback of all time. Said that, yeah, he said some things last time, but he said he didn't mean all the fans. He said without AEW, there would be no MJF. And he said he's never leaving. So he addressed the World Title Tournament. And, you know, yes, he's not in it, but he's got the poker chip. He's in to fight smart, not hard. And that Tony Khan is paying him a lot of money. And that in the end, he'll be the AEW World Champion. And he's better than you, quote, and you know it. And that he's the savior that AEW needs in these dark times, despite these dark times. So, John Moxley came out there, all business. Coincidentally, he was supposed to be on vacation. So, he was out there. MJF quoted Triple H, and he said that the only con that's worth a damn is jolly old Saint Nick. Moxley said MJF was full of crap. Then, in a flip of the switch, trashed on Buffalo, trashed on the Buffalo Bills, wiped his ass with the Josh Allen jersey, said Josh Allen sucks. And yeah, MJF quoted Triple H saying that he'll probably take the world title to a better wrestling company, use it as a bargaining chip for the big war of 2024, and that's best for business. So Moxley swiped the microphone out of his hand, said that now it's not the time, told him to leave, or he'll make him leave. MJF tried taking off his shirt, struggling with one of his wrists. Taz said that the shirt's got him in a wrist lock. Excalibur was chuckling about that. Good little tease. MJF hightailed it, and Moxley went to this big promo. You know, I mean, said that yeah, the original title doesn't mean much, but it's about what the title represents. It represents all the people in the back. It represents being better every day, even if some people don't know it except himself. Talked about the tournament, says he's disgusted that he's not there with the AEW title. Talked about the names in this tournament, said that he missed the game winning shot on Sunday, but he said he wants the ball now, and that now's the time to be a legend. Big promo by Mox and a great open to the show. Enough to be said. You know, I had predicted a. Well, I'll get into it in a bit. So, next we got Death Triangle versus Best Friends Orange Cassidy for the vacated trio titles. You know, I ain't gonna lie, it's disappointing. We waited a long time. We waited a bunch for Kenny Omega to return. He returned with the Bucks. You know, the 3 trios matches they had, were great. But now Kenny is suspended again. And we're back to square one pretty much with the trios titles. But this was a fun match. So, Orange Tope over top on all Death Triangle. Chuck Taylor during the break hit a dive on off the stage on everybody. Trent was getting beat down before Big Tag the OC. He had Suicida after Albert Huntes and Danielson were getting into it on the outside. Then Pac involved. Orange hit Tilt-A-Whirl DT for a near fall. Big moves back and forth. Trent was going for a strong 0, but he turned around to 2 super kicks and Phoenix assisted Code Red for a 2. Trent then hit the strong 0. Chuck followed up with a big driver, but only for a near fall, broke it up. Then Lucha Brothers hit the Fear Factor, hit Topes on the outside, taking out Trent and OC. Pac then hit the Black Arrow on Chuck Taylor. 1, 2, 3. And we got new trios champions. Pac is now a dual champion in AEW. A dual AEW champion. The All-Atlantic champion and 1/3 of the trios champions. Good stuff. Toni Storm versus Penelope Ford. This was short, Penelope Ford, she's okay. I mean, she does add a bit to the women's division. Toni Storm right off high after that big victory is the new AEW interim women's world champion. Hit Big DT for the win. Some nice momentum to start her title run. The Acclaimed. They were interrupted by Swerve Strickland. Swerve interrupted the Acclaimed's rap. Swerve asked the crowd if they want to hear any more corny rap jokes. The crowd chanted yes, yes, yes. They chanted asshole at Swerve. Swerve said he had a joke for the audience. He claimed as tag team champions. You know, Billy Gunn, who is massively over thanks to the Acclaimed, and hilarious. Billy said it's no longer Swerve's house, it's Daddy Ass's house. There's got a big chant. Bowen said at Grand Slam they will make their due and win the AEW World Tag Team titles because everyone loves the Acclaimed. You know, the Acclaimed are great. The Acclaimed are great. They're very over in Chicago and, still over in New York. Hopefully, the moment can be replicated in Queens in 2 weeks. Swerve did a nice job being a heel, I will say. Chris Jericho, Anna Jay, Ty Mello, and Sammy Guevara, they were all backstage. Anna Jay's still not doing it for me. She's not really doing anything as a heel. Jericho and Sammy pretty much went back and forth. Jericho said that he beat Bryan on Sunday, big victory, and that he'll go on to beat Bryan again next week, spoiling the match pretty much of later, and said that Sammy will beat Darby Allin on Friday. Pretty straightforward. Wardlow versus Toni. Short and sweet. Wardlow beat Nese with the Powerbomb Symphony. 1, 2, 3. Wardlow retains. Wardlow, he cut into his promo afterwards saying that he's heard the stuff, and he said that people say that the momentum's gone, say he's gone back a step, but he said that, for everyone out there, for all the critics, for his fans that have stuck with him around since day one, it's time that he shows them that this is still Wardlow's world. Short and good to the point for Wardlow. There's a good amount of challengers for Wardlow. It's just about putting a story together for Wardlow and his next challenger. Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Page. This was a very good match. What a way to start the tournament. Tournament champions. Picking up later into the match. After Bryan tried to neutralize the arm of Hangman for the buckshot, Bryan went for the yes kicks, hit the roundhouse for a near fall. Hangman off the top hit moonsault slam for 2. Then hit a sail powerbomb. Bryan got the advantage back, went for a top rope back suplex, but Hangman landed on his feet. Went for an elbow, was blocked, hit a rebound lariat for a nice near fall. Bryan went for a cycle knee, but Hangman come to Deadeye for near fall. Went for a moonsault but missed. Bryan hit the psycho knee. Hangman rolled to the outside. After a missed suicida, Hangman hit a powerbomb on the apron. Then hit his moonsault off the top rope, rolling back in the ring. Hangman went for the buckshot lariat, but Bryan countered, rolled him up with a counter roll with a bridge. 1, 2, 3. And Bryan Danielson advances next week to face Chris Jericho again in the Tournament of Champions. Stokely Hathaway and his army, they were out for a few minutes. Obviously, this one of the intriguing parts of the show because Stokely and his army, they helped MJF to gain the poker chip in the Casino Ladder match on Sunday, point blank. But we didn't hear anything about MJF. Stokely talked about the match on Sunday. They beat up the schmuck producer at ringside. There was that. Daniel Garcia versus Yuta for Ring of Honor Pure title. This was a good match, but the fact remains that they still need to get a Ring of Honor deal done, TV deal done, and I'm not too big a fan of seeing the Ring of Honor titles being defended more than some of the AEW titles on TV. That's me. I'm sure some will agree with that statement. But yeah, it's something that needs to be worked around. But Garcia, the Buffalo Kid from Buffalo, obviously in the show and got a moment. But yes, it's a good match. Garcia superplex out of the break. Went for his Dragon Tamer, which is basically a sharpshooter with a bridge. Yuta countered to a crossface, but they were back and forth. Yuta went for a seatbelt, but roll up, but Garcia rolled out for near fall. Finally, Garcia locked in the Dragon Tamer. Garcia or Yuta, nowhere to go. Tapped out. And we got a new Ring of Honor Pure Champion. Afterwards, Bryan Danielson came out there. The Code of Honor was there. As Yuta and Garcia shook hands. And Bryan Danielson wrapped the belt around Daniel Garcia. As Jericho was confused by all this happening. And that was how Dynamite went off the air. This had to be a statement show with what happened over the weekend. This needed to be a statement show for AEW. and Tony Khan. This was a very good show, and again, they steer in the right direction, perhaps. Um, we'll see more, probably hear more about the whole CM Punk, the Elite situation, but last was a good show, and hopefully the proper details are shown and, you know, the right consequences are given out. But anywho, until then, uh, it was a good show. But anyways, thank you for joining me. If you like this video, like this review, leave a like in the corner, leave thumbs up. How about the video up channel? Apologize for Friday. You know, usually I try, but things happen. But at least giving you your AEW Dynamite review in some sort of fashion. But thank you all. Be safe. See you guys next week. I'm A. Joe Torn Love. Get out of here. Peace.